Well, good evening, and welcome to Kopernik Observatory. My name is Drew Desker. I'm the director here. I had a COVID exposure a couple days ago. I'm non-symptomatic, but for your safety, I'm wearing a mask. Anyway, it's great to have you here this evening for our program on fall skies. The bunch of new faces for me. So it's a matter of interest. Who here is here for the first time? All right, about half the crowd. Great. All right. The next question is who here are members of either Kopernik or another science center? Pretty much the other half. So that other half people are actually have a particular piece of knowledge that's very, very valuable. Kopernik and some of these other science centers, like Roberson and the Corning Museum of Glass, belong to the ASTC, Association of Science and Technology Centers. And it's a consortium of these 350 or so science centers that honor each other's memberships. So like a family membership here at Kopernik is $75 to get you into Kopernik every Friday night for free. But you could go to the Corning Museum of Glass, you could go to the Intrepid Museum down in New York City, or the Franklin Institute down in Philly, all for free. So if you like this kind of place, it's definitely worth investing. We've got a nice program this evening, and including there's going to be an ISS pass, International Space Station pass, right around 9 o'clock. So we think we've got the program timed just so that when it's done, we'll run outside and see it. But if Robert really gets into it, and he does get into it, we'll stop the program briefly. We'll head outside, we'll watch the ISS pass over, and then we'll come back in and finish. But anyway, our website always talks about what's going on, so tonight's program is Fall Skies. Next Friday is actually a special program. We actually do this, been fortunate to do this once every year, and it's called Exposure. And there is a film professor out of Binghamton University that curates a half dozen short films that have some kind of an astronomical theme, or some aspect of astronomy seems to be woven into it, although sometimes it's very thinly woven in, but it's still art nonetheless. And so that will be next weekend. First weekend of October is our Astrofest, and that is a 2-day astronomy festival. So again, everything about about our programs can be found on our website, and we also live stream. So like this program is being live streamed right now. Literally, our YouTube channel has over 13,000 subscribers. And the beautiful thing about this is if you can't make it up here on an evening, you can come and watch the live stream live, or you can watch it at your convenience tomorrow or whenever. So anyway, we're very fortunate to have Robert Olaf Seegers. He's one of our Kopernik educators, and among the many talents he has is he knows a lot about what's out in space, and so he's going to share that with you this evening. So Robert, take it away.
Does that sound okay? Maybe, I don't know who's all out there. If maybe we can get the 14-inch going, maybe we can possibly look for that later. So it's a hard object to find. And then the Milky Way, of course, the Milky Way cloud, which is this is really the center of our galaxy. It's the light and the dust and the gas that comes from there. And then there's deep space objects, they're cool. Like you look at the constellations, and you can't tell from just looking at them. There's hidden objects like nebulas and galaxies and so forth. And that's, of course, where the telescopes come in handy. So, all right. So my colleague put this together. He couldn't be here tonight. So the ABCs of stargazing. Okay. So A is for angular size and distance, and that's just like a fancy way of saying how far the objects appear to be from each other, in the sky when you look at it. Okay, it's kind of hard just to say, well, it's about whatever, 5 inches or whatever. It's all relative. But if you use like your hands, for example, like when you stick your pinky up, that's like maybe 1 degree, okay? And then like if your 3 fingers, that's like 5 degrees. Your fist is 10 degrees. I guess the Vulcan thing would also be about 15 degrees. And then, maybe it might even be easier if you look at the Big Dipper, for example, when you see it in the night sky, because it is one of the more visible objects, it looks like the Big Dipper pretty much spans 25 degrees. So you kind of use that for a reference. So B is for brightness, but the true word for that is magnitude. Magnitude is a little interesting because there's 2 kinds of magnitude. There's absolute magnitude and apparent magnitude, and what we see is apparent magnitude. It's what our eyes apparently see, right? I think what absolute magnitude is let's say you lined up all the stars in space and you put them all like 32 light years away from Earth. Well, they're gonna, that's absolute light year. Absolute magnitude. And to give you an idea, though, how that is, if you take a star, our brightest star in the sky in the Western Hemisphere is, in the Northern Hemisphere is Sirius, and you'll see it especially in the winter sky, winter and spring. It's the bright star in Canis Major. It's like the collar of the dog or whatever. And I guess that's the brightest star. But there's another really bright star in Orion called Rigel, which is at the foot of Orion, the Hunter. And really, Sirius is apparently just only a little bit brighter than Rigel. However, Rigel is 900 times farther away. Sirius is only 9 light years away from Earth. So could you imagine if those 2 stars were switched? If we had something that is massive and bright as Rigel, it'd be off the charts. So anyway, here we can see some of our objects here, and I have some right after this we can look. But you see the moon is basically, a full moon is between -10 and -15. So let me point out, the lower the number, the brighter the magnitude. Okay, so the higher the number, then it gets more faint. In fact, once you get above 5, plus 5.0, it's very difficult to really even see the objects. Okay. And by the way, don't look at the sun. So you just take my word for it. It's less than -25. All right. So I just happened to quickly put some of the stars and planets you see tonight. And Arcturus, that's the brightest star in our sky when Sirius isn't out, and that's pretty much a spring through fall star. And that's the only one out that's actually below 0. Okay, Arcturus is going to be setting in the west tonight, and it's got that nice cool orange color because I guess it's getting pretty old. The other bright stars are Vega, okay, which is just barely over 0, and Taurus, which is in the southern horizon, southwestern horizon. It's pretty low. It's in Scorpio. That's actually at plus 1.09, and then Fomalhaut, which is in a constellation called Pisces Australis, the southern fish, that is plus 1.16. And that one isn't one that you see out for too long because it's pretty far south. Now the planets, tonight the bright one is Jupiter. Right tonight it'll be minus 2.7. Saturn tonight is 0.52, and then Neptune tonight is plus 7.68, which again you can't see that without either like incredible binoculars or or a telescope. Now, one thing about the planets, their magnitudes change because they're constantly moving. In fact, the word planet comes from a Greek word which means wanderer, and people from ancient times knew there was something very special about Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn because they weren't always in the same place at the same time. All the stars, like the 4 that we have mentioned here, and every other star in the sky, from our perspective, during our lifetime, never appear to move. They appear to be, it's like wallpaper, celestial wallpaper, right? So it's always in the same spot, which is interesting when you want to find out where they are. And we have a coordinate system, and You can see if you just kind of look into the sky above your head, we call that the zenith, the top point in the sky. That's 90 degrees, and let's say the horizon is 0. So you can measure things on the, the horizon, usually what they call azimuth coordinates. And you can see, too, you can use east and west. East would be 90 degrees, west is 270 degrees. So it's basically what you're looking at is half of a sphere, right? And the line that goes, and that's called the meridian, okay, when it crosses, objects cross the meridian. And usually, in fact, the AM, PM, right, or AM is the morning, PM is afternoon and evening. Well, that's what that meridian, the M, stands for. So when it basically when it crosses the meridian, you're into the afternoon. But there's a more interesting, more sophisticated way of tracking, where they are. It's called the celestial coordinates, equatorial coordinates. And what you're basically doing is projecting the coordinates on the Earth out in space. We have longitude, right, and latitude, right? We here, I think where we are here in Vestal, I think that's about plus 42, basically, somewhere around there for our latitude. I forget what our longitude is. But anyway, you're projecting your coordinates from Earth out into space. So the stars are at the same spot each time. So you can catalog where the stars are. Tonight, if these guys want to look for a specific star, let's say they want to look for some faint star in the Big Dipper or something, they would know what its celestial coordinates are, and they can get the telescopes right there. Planets, of course, though, like I said, they change. Okay. And any question? If I go too fast, let me know. So, any questions about this? I mean, does it make sense? You're just kind of basically, So, for example, the North Star, Polaris, is at 42 degrees north latitude. And the reason why that is, it projects our latitude here into space. So, if you think of it, the Earth kind of spins around like this imaginary pole, whatever. And if that extended trillions of miles past the North Pole, you would like poke the North Star, Polaris. We're just really fortunate to have a star that's basically right over our North Pole. Okay, that makes it really helpful for navigating, especially pre high-tech times here. So basically, the North Star is basically going to be at the same what we call declination. That's where you're above the equator, and it's going to be what your latitude is on Earth. So here at Vestal, whatever, it's 42 degrees. If you were in the North Pole, whatever, it'd be 90 degrees. It'd be right over your head. And if you were like at the Arctic Circle, for example, it'd be like 67 degrees. So it just kind of projects your latitude out into space. So I mentioned the lines that go, or latitude that we project, are called declination, and that's measured in degrees, just like the equator, right? When you're up and down from the equator. The longitude is measured in hours and minutes. Okay, it's like a 24-hour clock, so to speak. So let's see what we got here. So just an example. So tonight, Neptune, if we wanted to find it, would be at a right ascension would be 23 hours, basically in 47 minutes. And its declination would be below the celestial equator. It'd be minus 2 degrees, basically minus 2.5 degrees. Fomalhaut, a bright star that I mentioned before, would be not too far away. It'd be like 22 hours, almost 23 hours for the right ascension. It's the longitude, and for the declination, it would be about minus 29, because like you said, it's pretty far in the south. So I picked Fomalhaut as a star, for example, because I found out it's known as the lonely star. Because apparently there are not too many bright stars nearby, so it seems to be all by its lonesome self when you look at it with your naked eye. So if we went back, and let's see, I don't have a pointer, do I? Darn. Maybe there's one in here. Please. What's that? You're back. Oh, okay. I was looking for a pointer, so I forgot to get one. No, wait, no, it's a pen. I don't think they want me writing on the screen. You see a pointer back there at all, or no? Anyway, well, I'll use my fingers and see if how far I can go. Okay, so So we said like Neptune was basically like 23 hours and pretty close to the celestial equator, and it'd be like about -2. So Neptune tonight would be, if you were doing the coordinates, would be there. The other one we mentioned was 22 hours, and it was much farther down here, like, so it would be right around there. So again, by knowing this coordinate system, you can pretty much find everything. Okay. So, okay. So he drew. Oh, it disappeared. So anyway, there's so up here we have. You see where the bright star Vega is? That's one of our really bright stars, and it's in the constellation called Lyra. And just off to the left, that cross up there is nickname is the Northern Cross, but actually Cygnus the Swan. And there's another one nearby, right here, with another bright star called Altair, and I'll put the star names up in a moment. And that a constellation is called Aquila. Okay, Aquila the Eagle. Okay, and just those three constellations alone, besides them making up the bright stars making up the summer triangle, they have a lot of like really cool things in them. And in Cygnus the Swan, for example, the bright star at the tail of the swan is called Deneb. And at the head of the swan is 2 stars. They're called Alberio. It's known as a double star. And this is one of those like things I was telling you that's sort of like hidden secrets, and when you can see them through a telescope or even good binoculars. So a double star is sort of like an illusion. It looks like the stars are right next to each other, but in reality, we could be closer to one of those stars than the other star is. Now, at the other end of that is called a binary. Opposite is a binary star, and that's when you actually have 2 stars that are actually like orbiting each other, okay? And there's one of those in the Big Dipper, in fact, called Mizar, and maybe we can take a look at that tonight. But anyway, so those 3 stars make up this asterism called the Summer Triangle. And I should say something, too, about the names of these stars. You ever notice these stars' names are really hard to spell? And probably hard to say, too. And most of the star names are actually Arabic. Okay, there's some exceptions, but and the reason for that is it makes total sense. Well, if you were trading goods thousands of years ago and you're going through the Sahara Desert, right? You're not going to go during the daytime, right? You'll cook. So you would go at night when it was cooler, and you could use the stars to guide your way. So, for example, Deneb, the tail of Cygnus the Swan, well, that word means tail in Arabic. And Altair, which is in, let's see here, which is in Aquila the Eagle, which I just had here for you guys over there. Well, that means eagle. So, and there's plenty of that. There's another constellation called, well, I'll get to it in a sec. Let me kind of move the sky around here. So there's actually logic to these names here. So let's see what else we have here. I'm going to all right, so you can move it. And the nice thing about this too, you can look from the, like, let's go to the north, for example, and we'll see some. And we can kind of roll it up so you can see a little bit better here. There we go. So here in the north, we have these constellations that we see all night long, all year long, when it's clear, because it's so close to our pole star. Like I said, imagine the North Pole at the end of this imaginary, stick that goes through our planet, extends trillions of miles into space. Well, anything that's near that North Star, we have a better chance of seeing, most of the time. And the North Star itself is in a constellation called Polaris, which is, let's see if I can find our let's see here. Here it is. So there's Polaris right up there. And it's in the Little Dipper, which is the nickname for Ursa Minor, which means little bear. And we also have the Big Dipper, or the Big Bear, right there. And it said its lowest point in the sky, but we can still see it. And those 2 stars that make up the bowl of the Big Dipper always point to the hand of the Little Dipper, which is Polaris. okay, also known as the North Star. So we see Ursa Minor, Ursa Major, Little Dipper, Big Dipper, all night long, all year long. We also see Draco the dragon. See this guy right here? Just kind of the tail kind of winding between the dippers. We see Draco all night long, all year long. Also, we see Cepheus, the king. So like a house with his roof there. That's the king. We see the upside down W, which is Cassiopeia. That's the queen. And we see, well, actually, those five. And there's also really nearby is Andromeda. And that is the daughter of Cepheus and Cassiopeia. Maybe we can look for that here in just a bit. But that's not up all the time. So anyway, those last ones I mentioned, you guys might have heard of a story about Cepheus, Cassiopeia, and maybe, let's see, there was a sea monster, and there was, what else? There was also, let's see, Pegasus, the winged horse, Perseus, who was riding the horse. Well, it's known as the Clash of the Titans from Greek mythology. So let me just change the time here, because this is kind of driving me crazy here. So we can do that. We can come in here, change the date if you want. You could go to BC. You can go look in the future, whatever you like to do. But we're going to just kind of make it a little bit better for us here, because we can't see. Okay. All right, so it's the 16th. We can just go back here. Okay, that's good. All right. So there we go. So anyway, so there we can see our constellations. They're a little bit different than they were a moment ago. So anyway, so those they make up a story called the Clash of the Titans, and basically, in a nutshell, the story is that in this ancient kingdom of Ethiopia, not the Ethiopia we know of today in Africa, but somewhere in the Middle East, in the Mediterranean, there was this king, Cepheus, and he has his wife, Cassiopeia. And they had like 21 kids. And I guess Cassiopeia liked to brag about how beautiful she and her daughters were. So that upset, I guess, some of the deities, like, flying around or whatever. They heard this and they got very mad. So they decided they were going to get a sea monster and basically, eat anybody that happened to be on the beach, right, of the kingdom. So Cepheus, being, very upset about this, didn't know what to do. So he went to the oracle, wherever it was, and decided to find out advice. What should he do? He doesn't want people in his kingdom being killed by the sea monster. So the story is that they say, all right, well, you're going to have to sacrifice your youngest daughter, Andromeda, okay? And you're going to leave her on the beach for the sea monster. And of course that grieved, Cepheus greatly. But that's basically what was going to happen. But Perseus, flying on the winged horse Pegasus, sees what's happening, rescues the princess, and they all live happily ever in our night sky, right? So there's a lot of these stories, because if you think about it, thousands of years ago, there's no, television, radio, entertainment, video games of any kind. They used the night sky for their entertainment, and that's where these stories come from. Now, most of the stories we're familiar with are what we call the Greco-Roman tradition, okay, from Western mythology. And there was a reason that kind of happened, because there's a lot of other cultures that had their own views of the stars. But in the 1700s, there was a movement for what they called classicism. And basically, they wanted everything to be like Greek and Roman, like in aesthetics, I guess. So if you think about Washington, D.C., for example, it was built around 1800, right? It looks like it could be like ancient Rome, right, or something like that. So so it's kind of regrettable. A lot of cultures sort of lost their night sky mythology, but you can still, there's, Chinese mythology, there's, some in Polynesia, and so forth. So there are plenty of different perspectives of these stars and the way they connect them. So, all right, let's see what else we got here. Let me go back to the south here. See if we can get this out of the way. Okay. Oops. Let's see what's happening here with our clock. Yeah, it's not supposed to speak. Okay. Okay. Go here. Oh, I see. It was on forward fast. Okay, try that again. Thanks for bearing with me here. Yeah, that's good. Why is it doing that? There we go. Okay. So here we're looking kind of in the west now, and we can see the bright star Arcturus over here. And we can also see right here is Antares. That's the bright star on in the Scorpion, very close to the southern horizon. Antares actually is interesting. Its name is not Arabic. It's actually Latin or whatever, Roman, and it's actually what it means. Antares means rival of Mars, and if you think about it, it's a red star, right? So it's the same color as Mars. Also, it's very close to what we call the ecliptic. That is the line, the apparent line that the sun and the planets take in our sky. Of course, we're all going around the sun, but it's. Let me see if I can bring that up here. Let's see here, ecliptic. Let's see here. Probably past it. Sorry. Okay. Let's see what else I can do here about that. Let's try the letter E. Oh, there's your celestial coordinates. Okay. Anyway, so it's basically it's on the same plane as the solar system, and as a result, it's actually can be very close to Mars. You know, every now and then during the millennia. So it actually is very close, and also in brightness as well. So that's a clever name for sure. All right. So this is what we got here. So we do have like these. We do have these deep sky objects too. Like I said, there's like these hidden treasures in these constellations. So let's go ahead and find one right here. So this will label the deep sky objects here. So planets are here. Here we go. There we go. So so these objects you see here, they're all like these bright colors. Those are ones that are hidden in these constellations. For example, in Andromeda, we have the famous Andromeda galaxy. It's known as M31. And the reason for those numbers is that there was a guy named Charles Messier who was collecting these deep space objects, so he put them in a catalog. So we kind of still use that today. So the Andromeda galaxy, known as M31, you would see that in Andromeda. Let's see if we can turn it to the north, maybe and find that. Here we go. But anyway, so all these you can see a lot of them in our telescopes here. There's the Ring Nebula, which is very close to the bright star Vega. That can be seen. So there's a lot of like really fun deep sky stuff out there. Okay. Let's see what else I want to show you here. So let me get those out because grand. Yeah. And you can even bring up satellites on here if you like. It's really cool. So here we go. Looks like there's a couple out here. So yeah, it's pretty. It stays up to date. Like I say, it runs on real time. Let's see what else. Okay. Here we go. All right. So let's look at a few other constellations here that we can see tonight. And see here when I find it. So where we see Arcturus, which is a bright constellation called Bootes. Bootes, I guess, was a herdsman. And near, okay, so what do we have here? Maybe they'll come up east more. Usually this program works very well. I'm not sure what the story is here, but I'll just find out tonight. Here, got my phone. I'll tell you exactly where it is. Okay.
Saturn and Neptune right there.
Oh, you see him?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Oh, well, it's weird. It's showing up on here. Okay, yeah. Okay, so Saturn right over here, and Neptune is in Pisces, right? So.
To the right.
Oh, just to the right? Over here somewhere. No, I can use the arrow. All right, so here is Saturn over here, and Neptune is, you said just still off to the right, you said?
I think that's Neptune. Yeah.
Okay, so, oh, right, maybe here. It's in Pisces. Well, let's see here. Let's label we can label our constellations. That will help us. Huh. Pisces. Okay, here's Pisces here. So it's in here somewhere. And again, because it's a set for like what you see with your naked eye, that's why you're not going to see Neptune on here. But it's in Pisces right here. So we'll use that as our hunter here. There we go. All right. So, and Jupiter's here somewhere, and Jupiter might be, let's see, where's Jupiter tonight? I think it might be very close to the sunset. So, but we go back in time. Let's see if we can find it. Go back here this way. And Arcturus, let's see. Huh. Let's see it. Well, they know where it is, so so anyway. All right. Let's see here. Let's go back. Oops. Sorry about that. There we go. All right. So anyway, it's a lot of fun, and you can actually spend a lot of time with this, and like you say, really learn a nice sky. So, all right. Any questions about this program at all over here? What you got?
I kind of like the part about. I also kind of like the part about the what you call the broken ring thing.
Right. So he was mentioning how he likes the name, how the names make sense, and we talked about like before where the names are from different languages, mostly Arabic, and it means Alphecca, the bright star in Corona Borealis, which is shaped like a broken circle or broken ring, means broken ring in its native language.
On the app, can you click on a constellation and will it show you the many stories of the constellation?
There is on here. You can actually go on here and I think this is lore. Let's see if we can find that. Settings here. Okay, so there's other things here. Let's try this one. Okay, and that's not that one. Let's try this one. Okay, let's see. Here we go. So, sky culture. See that? So that you can change, like we can change it. So let's do, for example, we could change it to all these ones you see here. So I don't know if it tells you the stories about them, but it does tell you, it shows you what they are. So you could go and look at this. Let's see what else. Yeah. So let's see. Yeah, we could take one. Let's try this. Let's do this. So it might not let me do it. It might be like configured. Here we go. Let's see if it works.
Yeah, it looks like it automatically. Yeah, it's
Oh, it changes in the back.
Oh.
Yeah, it changes in the back.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Huh. Okay. So you could show the labels, yeah, constellations, star names. Let's see what else it can give you. External links. So probably you could like go to the external links here, and you would probably be able to find stories behind all these constellations in different cultures. So it's pretty cool. Yeah. Let's see what other ones we have here. Okay. Here's okay, let's see what we can give you. So this one is called Sami, and this is like Lapland, like Finland, up there, and they have their own names, but you'll see like some of the shapes are still like similar. Like Cassiopeia looks like it's part of something else. So, anyways, it's definitely fun, and it's just it's nice to see different perspectives. It's really cool. So I better go back. So let's go back here. Okay. Let's see, what were we on? I should have looked. I think it's modern. Let's see. Oh, well. I'll find it here somewhere.
Go to M. There is mine.
Oh, modern? Okay. Modern, Chinese, modern.
You almost there. Mm-hmm. It's right above modern Chinese.
Okay. Oh, okay. There we go. Oh, modern, I got you. Okay. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. So, anyway, it's really fun. It's one of those things where once you start playing with this, it's hard to like put it down. So another couple questions here.
just what's the name of the program? Like,
It's-
can I find it online?
You can, and I do have a screen here at the end, but it is called stellarium.org.
Okay.
So it's totally free. And it's best if you do download it, but you can do it right off the web too. You just don't get all the functions here. So question over there? Sorry.
Yeah, you were saying earlier in the lecture when you were talking about brightness, how just relative brightness of the star on Orion's belt versus Sirius. And I was just wondering how bright would that be if it was as close as Sirius was?
Yeah, I think it'd be like
How bright would that be in the sky?
it would be like a huge, like probably like industrial, like or something. I can only imagine it'd be like just amazingly bright. I mean, it's bright enough as it is now. It's one of the top 10 bright stars in our sky. If you bring it 900 times closer, it's got to be like.
Would it be something that would be bright? Would it be bright enough to like cast shadows?
I think yes. I think you have to. Yeah, yeah. Way back there.
Any app you can download on your phone so that you can see like what stars are in the
Yep, we have. I think at the end here we got a slide that'll have those programs too that you can just do on your phone if you like. So yeah, we'll get to that pretty quick. So actually, what time is it? I don't want to. Okay, I'll kind of move along. Any other questions about the stellarium before we move? And by the way, we have in our computer lab here, we've got like 20 computers. That's what we do with them most of the time. So feel free if if we can help you out there if you like, and you can try them out for yourself on a desktop. It's pretty cool. All right, so let's go back and see if I can remember how to. Let me turn the light back on so I can see what I'm doing here. Oh, thank you very much. Appreciate that. All right. Okay. So let's go back to.
10 minutes to the ISS.
Okay. There we go. So we didn't go back to where we were before, but we'll find that, no problem. Man, this thing's just. Okay, and of course wish this was going to happen to me. Here we go.
Click on the one that says International Space Station.
Yeah, we'll get there. Sorry.
Sorry.
But it's like nothing is working here tonight. Sorry about this. Let's go nice and slow. Let's see if we can find this. All right, I'll just keep going like this. We did that. So what can we see? What can we see in the sky this fall? Let's see if I can. Oh my goodness. Okay, so. Oh. All right, here we go. It's frozen. There we go. Boy, this has got a mind of its own. Okay, so we'll just keep clicking away here. Here we go. Let's try this. Maybe it'll work. There we go. Okay. So the International Space Station, okay, orbits 250 miles above the Earth once every 90 minutes at a speed of 17,500 miles per hour. That is fast, okay? So you can see you could get to New York, to Los Angeles in 9 minutes. So in about that amount of time, 9 minutes from now, we're going to be looking at that. So let me cruise here. Flyovers. So like. Looks like the 9 p.m. one here. Who's on board the ISS? I don't think you'll be able to wave to them, but inside is these guys right here. I'll just come in. And of course, it looks like they're kind of floating around there. And of course, then there's also the Starlinks. We talked about that. And I think the next one, oh, there's one tonight at 11:38. So if you're still up tonight, probably near where you are, where you live, so you might be able to see that. And you can always visit starlink.com to find out more about it. Okay. So here's what it looks like. Kind of cool. But there you go. And so listen, tonight we see, so we can just kind of cruise this, the sun, of course. We've got to remind you the eclipse is coming, well, there's a partial one coming first on October 14th from 12 to 2:30. You never ever look at the sun without special equipment. But of course on April 8th is the total eclipse, and it'll be like 92% here and over that, actually more than that. But if you go to like Buffalo or Cleveland or Rochester, any of those places, I believe it's 100%. So if you know people there, invite yourselves over. Question?
Where are we going to get solar eclipse glasses?
Good question. Yeah, definitely online. But that might be a question we can ask for you. Just hang out afterward, and I'll see if I can find out.
Also, Google pinhole and a paper plate.
Yeah. So you can make your own, yeah. Okay, the moon, of course, right now, the moon, who knows what phase the moon is? It's getting towards a full moon. It's got a fancy name. This is the one I usually forget. Who can tell me? One, you guys? Right, and because it's heading towards the full moon, is it a waning gibbous or is it a waxing gibbous? Waxing is correct. Okay. And of course, the one lunar cycle is about 29 and a half days, okay? And Venus, of course, when you see it, you're actually seeing a crescent because, like the moon, Venus and Mercury are between us and the sun. Now, the moon sometimes isn't. When the moon's on the opposite side, it's a full moon, right? But when it's in front of us a bit, it also goes into phases. And likewise, so do Venus and Mercury when we see them. You could not see a full Venus or Mercury because it'd either be directly in front of the sun or behind it. So either way, you're not going to see it. And Jupiter and Saturn return. Okay. Okay, so we'll take care of that some other time, but you guys can do that on your own. But let's see what we have as far as resources for you. Yeah, there is a meteor shower on October 21st and 22nd. The bigger ones, however, are the Leonids, which are coming up in November, mid-November, around the 14th or so, 13th and 14th. Those ones are bigger. And by the way, the name comes from the area of the sky which they appear to be emanating from. So these are called the Orionids because they appear to be coming from Orion, which means they're probably very early in the morning. Okay, let's Milky Way. And this is that one star Fomalhaut I meant to tell you earlier. It actually has like rings around it. It looks like it's got like some like asteroid belts and other stuff. So it's pretty exciting. For a lonely star, deep sky objects. I mentioned the Andromeda Galaxy to you. The Ring Nebula, that's in Lyra by Vega. And we can find those in Stellarium. Okay, so, and there's that line I meant to show you before, that ecliptic, this red thing, that's the apparent path that the sun would take, the planets will take in our sky. And you can see Saturn, Jupiter, Neptune, and Uranus are all on that line because they are our planets. Okay, other stargazing apps for the guy that asked about the phone. Here we go. So you have these three: Star Walk, Sky Guide, and Sky Safari. There are other ones too, but we just had mentioned these. So if you want to take a photo of it, there you go.
Wait, don't change it yet.
Okay, well. What time do we have? Okay, thanks. And your smartphone, of course. You can take pictures if you. And clear skies, that's good. All right. So stellarium.org is, again, that's the source we're looking at. Any questions before we head out to the skies here?
I really can't wait to see the ISS. Yeah.
Okay, well, it's coming up. Any other questions at all? All right, well, guys, thank you very much. Thanks for your patience, too, with the technical glitches. I appreciate that. Yep, you're welcome.